When do we think freshmen for Georgia are going to start playing? Who has more touchdowns as receivers? And what does the amount of interceptions mean on defense? We're going to give you a statistical breakdown of all of this, looking for this season's preview. Next, Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel. He is Clint. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, FanDuel.com. More on them in a moment. Thanks so much for being with us. Thanks so much for tuning in to the podcast, for tuning in to the YouTube channel. If you're new, we're getting into the season. If you're just finding us, we're Georgia fans, and we talk like Georgia fans, and we don't apologize for that. And this podcast is for fans, by fans. That's the way that it is run. If that sounds even remotely interesting to you, subscribe to the podcast on the podcast.
Called the Everydayers, Daniel, the first listen in the Everydayers.
Yeah, become an everydayer. We got a whole army of people listening to this thing. The first listen of their day, every single day they're here. We're here every day through the season. It's been a long, dark off season. We were just talking about that in pre-production, but it is over now, and we are here to the regular season. There's football on TV this Saturday, and Georgia plays next Saturday against the Clemson Tigers to open the 2024 season in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And so if you're just finding us, subscribe, tell a friend about the show, and come along for the ride. We're talking about some random stats here by way of sort of previewing. Previewing is not a great word because we're not going to systematically go through the roster. We're not going to go game by game or anything like that. We're going to pull out some items of interest to us, let's just say, Clint.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss them. Maybe we'll have the same opinion. Maybe we'll have different opinions. We don't know what the other person thinks about this, but we're all going to find out together. And so let's jump in and talk about two freshmen. Probably, Clint, am I out of line here? These are probably the two most talked about freshmen on Georgia's roster by a lot, I would think.
They're the two most, I think, from a talent standpoint, at a position that you can accentuate that talent. Is the case. Their ceiling is sky high. When you hear talk about Ellis Robinson and KJ Bolden, you don't hear people measure their words with these two. Hyperbole is off the charts sometimes. Superlatives galore.
It is. Now, here's the pertinent question for us. When are we going to see these two young men start for the University of Georgia this season? And by start, we mean be on the field for the first defensive snap of the game. I don't care what the program says. I don't care what the media release says. I'm talking about who's on the field for snap one. That's a start in real life. And so
running backs a little different. Defensive players, Kirby Smart puts out the best 11. They are the starters every single time. He might rotate them through.
Yeah, I mean, you could like, you know, what kind of personnel are we in? Are we in dime? Like, are we in whatever? So like, yeah, that's fine. But all that has to be factored in. What week are we going to see these young men start?
That's right.
And so it could be as early as you think they're going to start week 1 against Clemson. You could say you don't think they're going to start a single game this season.
That's right.
I think if we ask this to the Georgia fan base, we would get a wide swath of answers. But I'm interested in your answer, Clint. And so let's start with KJ Bolden. And I'll let you go first. KJ Bolden. No, let's start with Ellis Robinson. Ellis Robinson first.
Yep.
What week are we going to see Ellis Robinson on the field starting for the University of Georgia?
Daniel, I love. Am I sky high on Ellis Robinson? Or
You're
the
man's sky high. If you're new to the podcast, through the roof, sky high on Ellis Robinson.
I don't think he starts this year, Daniel.
Oh my!
I am sky high on Ellis Robinson. Sky high. I don't think he starts for UGA this year, Daniel.
I think I'm off to a good start, ladies and gentlemen. That is a fascinating opinion that you have. You just like Dalen Everett.
Week 12. I think Harris, Everett, I think they're going to hold it down a lot, Daniel.
You like Everett, you like Julio,
love Julio,
like Daniel Harris, and you don't think Ellis Robinson gets a start all year?
I don't think so. I think if I had to put it, week 12 is what I'm going to say.
SEC championship. You could go college football playoff. There's like six.
I'm gonna go week 12. Week 12, Daniel.
Week 12. I am much more optimistic that we're going to see Ellis Robinson start earlier this year. I'm going to put him in week 6. I think by week 6.
Tell the people what week 6 is. Give them some context for this, because it's after a couple notable games, Daniel.
Right, and that is so. Let me just paint you the picture. Georgia opens the season. Clemson, Tennessee Tech, Kentucky, bye week. That's 4 weeks. Okay. Everybody knows what happens in week 5 of the regular season. That's the trip to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
I got him starting at home in week 6 against Auburn. I think there could be some things that happen in Tuscaloosa, Clint, that might lend themselves toward Kirby and Glenn and company deciding it might be time to throw the young man out there and get him in the mix. I hate to say I think some guys are going to get exposed in Tuscaloosa, but I do think coming off of that game, you'd like to think like coming off the bye week would be a good time to start him. I don't think you're going to give him his first start in Tuscaloosa. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And so I got week 6. I'm going to put him on week 6. And that's how I feel. All right, KJ Bolden, Clint. I'll go first on this one.
Go ahead.
I think KJ Bolden is going to be even sooner.
Okay.
I got KJ Bolden starting week 3 against Kentucky.
Holy jeez.
I think Thunder Dan is going to start the season for the University of Georgia.
Absolutely.
But I think he's holding the place, Clint. I think he's keeping a seat warm. I think he is essentially keeping his hand on the seat to indicate that his friend has gone to use the restroom. And as soon as KJ Bolden is ready, he's coming to take that seat. So, no disrespect to Dan Jackson. I think he's a great football player, and I think he's going to play a pivotal role for Georgia all season long. Now, this is just the week I expect him to start. It's not like I don't think Dan Jackson's going to play after that. But I got KJ Bolden starting week 3, Clint.
Now, it's really interesting you say. So, I was down to 2 weeks that I was thinking through this. It's week 3 or it's week 6. It's Auburn.
No, similar thought process.
Similar thought process. I think Thunder Dan keeps his job as long as he's doing fine. And I don't think Tennessee Tech and I don't think Clemson's going to give enough on it to really change that. I think Alabama's going to come calling, and we're going to see Thunder Dan has many, many, many amazing abilities. Filling the alley against Milroe ain't one of them.
Ooh, nobody has that ability, just as long as we're clear.
I want closer to that ability, and that's KJ. So I'm actually going Auburn week
6.
Week 6. Okay, but I had the same exact thought process you did. I'm coming up from crisis management instead of Auburn. Now you have to do. It's not if it's Kentucky. I actually like it for Kentucky because it gets him ready for Kentucky and then Alabama. Right, gives him some in there. Or it's going to be after as a reaction to it. So both of those spots I think are the best opportunity. I think you chose one. I chose one. It's going to be interesting. We're going to come back after these and let you know about a couple more statistical guesses and predictions that we have. But first, these. These are, in fact, FanDuel. FanDuel's fantastic. Official sports book of Locked On Bulldogs everywhere. Daniel and I love them so much.
Check back on Thursday.
On FanDuel. Check back Thursday. You heard us talk about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We have something a little different for you now through September 22nd. All FanDuel customers can receive, if you bet $5, you get a 3-week trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every single regular season game out of market. All you need is Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel.com. All right, Daniel, we have
Clint. We're jumping back in here.
Get into it.
Let's move on to the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, that's right. Let's talk about a couple of offensive things. Let's talk about some touchdowns here. I'm going to give you. Let's go three different groupings, and we're just going to simply ask the question: who scores more touchdowns? Okay, couldn't be simpler. Could not be simpler. First grouping: who scores more touchdowns? Dylan Bell, Colby Young, or Arian Smith +2.
Got that 2 spot.
I'm gonna give him 2 extra touchdowns for Arian. It's kind of as a bit of a handicap. Speaking of FanDuel, who do you like to score these touchdowns for this offense? Dylan Bell, Colby Young, or Arian Smith with a little bump?
Notable Colby Young season incoming, Daniel.
This man is he a man of integrity? This is what we're learning right now. Is he a man of integrity? It's almost as if the question was posed just to make him double down on his take. It's almost as if it was thought up by an evil genius simply to back him into a corner. Will he take the bait or won't he?
When people zig, you zag. Give me Dylan Bell or give me depth. Dylan Bell's going to have the most touchdowns out of this entire group, Daniel.
Yeah, it's Dylan Bell. It's an easy choice for me. I am in total agreement with you. Thought I might get you.
No, you're not.
Thought I might get you on the Colby Young. I actually think the only other name I considered on this list was Arian Smith +2 because I think he's a wild card of this offense.
Could he have 7 touchdowns in 6 weeks, Daniel?
I think there's a chance Arian Smith could lead this team in snaps for a wide receiver this year. And I think people would be shocked if that happened because I think people assume that Dylan Bell, he is the workhorse of this group. I think people assume that a guy like Dom Lovett, who's a returning guy, he's going to get a ton of snaps. I actually think there's a chance that on the outside, this coaching staff likes Arian Smith a lot, and he plays a lot of football. He was the only name that I really almost took here, and he may end up winning this bet. He may end up being the guy that ends up scoring the most touchdowns without the handicap.
We will not be shocked. Circle back. Week 7. If Arian Smith is leading this team in touchdowns, we won't be shocked. He knows the playbook inside and out. He's healthy. He knows the system. He knows where to go in the training room. Like, all of these things are there. And Carson Beck, I don't know if you understand this, likes to throw the rock deep, Daniel. So
he does.
That's really good.
Anybody deep back there to catch it?
That's the question.
Yeah,
that's the question.
Well, he's going to be back there. The question is, you're going to catch it.
All right. Now we're going to keep on the offensive side, but go to the running back situation. We're going to give 2 groups, just 2 simple groups. You can get with this or you can get with that, Daniel.
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar.
The Robinson running backs.
Notable law firm of Robinson and Robinson.
Roderick and Branson. Or all other running backs. Now, we said running backs, not quarterbacks.
Of course.
Running backs. Daniel, who do you go with? The Robinson twins or every other running back for most touchdowns?
Most touchdowns on the year. This is receiving and rushing. It's just touchdowns.
That's right.
Scored. They get a special teams touchdown that's going to count.
That's a score, right?
I think that a Robinson is going to lead this team in touchdowns.
Okay, so far. Okay.
There's just too many other backs in the all other running backs category. And so I'm going to go with all the rest of the running backs score more touchdowns than Branson and Roderick.
Now, this is really hard. ETN back into play. When I say back in play, out of the transfer portal, back with the team. And so that's really interesting. Cass Jones, you might not like that name, but if there's a couple of games like Tennessee Tech, Frazier, who is
Cass Jones going to score some touchdowns this year. Period.
Frazier, who by all accounts is running with the first team offense in several occasions in a scrimmage.
Yes, sir.
Add on top of that, Chauncey, you got Bowens. I mean, there are a lot. And then you start with Roderick not playing week 1 against Clemson. And who knows after that? You think Tennessee Tech, he's going to really, really go ahead and try to get 20 carries in that game? Likely not. Are we looking for Alabama to control the clock? Yeah, I am on the road. So, Daniel, I hate to be boring. It's every other running back not named Robinson.
I really wanted to take the Robinsons, and I think the Roderick Robinson injury concern is the thing that steered me off of it. But I do think Branson Robinson's going to lead this team in touchdowns this year. I think he's at least in rushing touchdowns. I think he's going to lead the team. But I think it's those Cash Jones touchdowns that you're not expecting that are going to push it over the top. So I've got everybody else, not the Robinsons. Let's go one last quick one on the offensive. Well, it's sort of on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, it is. It's most certainly on the offensive side of the ball.
Most of it.
Sure.
More touchdowns this year, Clint.
Okay.
And this is in any way, any form. Gunnar Stockton, Jaden Rashada.
Interesting.
Or the defense. The entire defense on the season. Who do you have?
This was an instant bet. I went twice to the window, 3 times to the window. Sign me up. Guys, Gunnar Stockton has locked down the backup quarterback position. And we're going to have some games where he's going to get a lot of action. Gunnar Stockton got more touchdowns than Rashada and the defense, including special teams and partner office. Give me Gunnar Stockton on this one, Daniel. I think, and I don't think it's particularly close. I think this is a blowout.
You got a good intel on that. Gunnar Stockton's locked down the backup quarterback position.
I've heard, by the way, really quick, heard notable Twitter handle Georgia fans who tell me Gunnar Stockton.
You getting in that? Yeah. He's the only one. He's the only one. Yeah. Well, forgive me for not rushing to fall headlong into believing everything that I read on Twitter. I think both these quarterbacks, as we mentioned earlier in the offseason, I think both these quarterbacks are going to get a significant amount of run this year. I don't think you're going to see a true backup quarterback this year. I don't think, this is just my personal speculation, I don't think you're going to see a pecking order like that this year. I think both of them are going to go, and I think they're both going to be out to prove something. I think our backup quarterbacks are going to score a heck of a lot of touchdowns this year. Give me Jaden Rashada. Sure, I'll take it.
Okay.
Give it to me. Yeah, okay. I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Give me Rashada. You take Gunnar, and we'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, we may have this is fun for you guys. It's doubly fun for Daniel and I. We're going to come back after these, talk more predictions for the season, but first these. And these are, in fact, I'm going to get there. It's Ibotta. Our friends over at Ibotta.
He got there.
Fantastic. It's great. I don't know if you know about Ibotta, but you should know about Ibotta. Ibotta is great. Here's what you need to know about them. Sandal sunscreens, snacks for the kids, all the beach accessories that you need as the beach season winds down. You get ready for fall. Take that last trip out there.
It's still beach season. get there.
Think about what happens with your family when you get out there and you do all the things that you need to do with them. Enjoy the time. Well, what if every single time you went to buy all the things needed for the beach, Daniel?
Okay.
You got paid to purchase them.
It's a
free app.
you money.
That's it. It's a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn hundreds of items from groceries, beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. You can save over 2,400 brands, shop over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores. Right now, iBot is offering listeners $5 just for trying iBot using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download free iBot app, start earning cash back. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's iBot, Google Play, or App Store. Promo code LOCKEDONMLB.
All right, Clint.
Yeah.
Gunnar Stockton, Jaden Rashada it's going to be an absolute war this year. Just celebrations every touchdown. Just absolutely. There are no plays off as a Georgia fan. You understand? You've got to be invested in every snap because it's either Cash Jones taking it to the house or it's Jaden Rashada or Gunnar Stockton throwing a deep ball. All right. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball and let's talk about interceptions. Interceptions, obviously, the money stat when it comes to the defense. The big turnover, the takeaway, the field, the game changer, the field flipper, all that stuff. Who's going to have more interceptions? I'm going to give you 3 groups of people. Okay. Is it going to be Malachi Starks and Dalen Everett combined? Is it going to be all the other defensive backs combined? Or is it going to be everyone else on the team that's not a defensive back combined? Who has more interceptions on the season?
What I did here is I simply went most talent.
He simplified the game.
I simplified the game. I said, give me, there's mass, there's just percentage chance, opportunity, right?
Opportunity. So the biggest a lot of hands out there.
I just need a lot of hands, right? So you look at Dalen Everett and all other defensive backs. That's a lot of hands.
Malachi Starks Malachi Starks and Dalen Everett go together.
Yes. Sorry. Malachi Starks, Dalen Everett. Those are 4 hands right there. That's a good amount of hands. More than 2. Sure. All other defensive backs, that's a whole gaggle of hands. Everyone else, Daniel's even more hands.
Yeah.
But the most talented is Malachi Starks and Dalen Everett of that group.
It is.
Harris, Ellis Robinson, they're over there. That's fine. Julian Humphreys over there. That's fine. Daniel, you put Malachi Starks on a list, I'm going to choose it. Give me Malachi Starks and Dalen Everett for having the most interceptions from this group.
I actually feel the exact same way. I think Malachi Starks is going to lead this team in interceptions. I think he is an absolute ball hawk of a safety. And I think Dalen Everett's going to get his fair share. I don't think Dalen Everett's going to have the Kamari Lassiter, DeAndre Baker type of respect that a lot of Georgia number 1 corners get. So I think Dalen Everett's going to get thrown out a lot, no matter who's on the opposite side from him. I don't think at least early in the season until they are able to see what's going on. I don't think opposing offenses are really going to care which corner is playing on which side or covering which receiver for Georgia. And so I think you're going to see a lot of Dalen Everett getting thrown at. I think they're the 2 most talented backs that we have, defensive backs that we have. And so I'll take Malachi Starks and Dalen Everett as well. All right, last one, Clint. And it's simply this. Is Georgia going to run a kickback for a touchdown? And there's no sense in wasting the people's time here. The answer is unequivocally yes. Absolutely. You can take it to the bank. Georgia's going to run. Don't sleep on the fact that Georgia's going to run a kick back for a touchdown this year, Clint. This year.
You guys, hey,
it's happening. Don't sleep on it.
Y'all, just to give you some context for this one, this was the easiest decision in the world for me based upon this context. SEC last year had 5 kick returns for touchdowns.
Okay.
The year before that was 4 in the SEC.
Okay.
The year before that, 6. Daniel, we don't got nobody back there returning kicks. That's good. 3 of the ones last year, Barry and Brown, the UK, were 3 of the 6 last year. Arian Smith may be fast.
Is this just kickoff returns?
This is kickoff returns. This is just kick returns. Yeah, I'm just doing kick returns.
Right, because Georgia ran a punt back for a touchdown last year. Makai Hughes ran a punt back for a touchdown.
I'm getting to the punt returns next, Daniel. I'm just going one by one. Okay. Punt returns last year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the entire SEC last year. One of them was, in fact, Malachi Muse.
I'm not scared.
You're not
scared? No. Give me Anthony Evans all day and twice on Sunday. Georgia running a kickback for a touchdown this year.
Gosh, y'all. I mean, Zamir White ran a punt return for a touchdown. Daniel.
No, look, please say no. I got Hale's yes written on this sheet right here.
Okay.
And I'm not mad about it.
I'm gonna have integrity with my sheet. I wrote yes on my sheet. I want to change to no on my sheet, Daniel.
Hey, you already flip-flopped from Colby Young. Who knows what he'll do? Who knows what he'll do next?
Colby Young's gonna have a crud load of touchdowns. It's just, in fact, Dylan Bell runs as well for touchdowns, Daniel. The answer is yes. Did you see the electricity that happened late in the season last year with Evans? Did you all see the electricity?
I saw it. He changes the game.
Did we tell you the schedule? I don't know if you understand the schedule. Tennessee Tech is Tennessee Tech on the schedule?
We may run a kickoff. We may run a kickoff back for a touchdown against Tennessee Tech. Like, one of them freshman running backs may field the opening kickoff.
That's right.
And he may just say, "This is the only time this game I'm going to touch the ball. So I'm going to get my money's worth.
Why don't I do something with it?
I'm going to take it to the house." I remember when a freshman running back took a kickoff back to the house. In his first ever game, it was against Clemson.
Oh my gosh!
I've never been the same since. I've never been the same since. You realize that we are a week and a half away.
1 week and a half
from Georgia, Clemson, and Mercedes-Benz.
This time next week, Daniel and I will be neck deep.
I'm talking about as deep as anyone's ever been in Clemson's strategy game plan. I'm talking about, like, we're going to be in it.
He is Daniel. I am Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. We'll see you guys next week when we are in it.
In it.